welcome back for another book review. Today we are talking about this one. So this is Tending to the Sacred, Rituals to Connect with Earth, Spirit, and Self by Ashley River Brant. So this book is kind of your generic, kind of more new age, not really pagan, more new age-ish, of just a little more of the woo-woo way of approaching things, such as your relationship to self, relationship to Earth and the planet and nature, and just that kind of vibe. So I gave this one a 2 out of 5 star, and fun fact, I just learned as I was doing my notes for this video that I have not had a 1-star book yet this year, so I think my 2 stars are being very generous this year. But I mean, like, how can you beat the ones? The 1 stars are the worst. So this isn't the worst. It's just also not great. So this is filled with a lot of pseudoscience, and I'm not a big fan of that. I'm actually quite opposed to it when witchcraft authors and just people in general follow pseudoscience. Like, I have a real hard time believing anything else you say, because you've proven you fell into the crazy. You're drinking the Kool-Aid, dude. Like, no, it's not great. And also, the author kind of contradicts herself a couple times, and I was like, okay. So the general vibe that I got from this book is that this author has lived a fairly privileged life and does not understand struggles for a lot of people, such as poor people and disabled people in particular, let alone other parts of the world that might not be as well off, because again, like, you know, like, it's not always great everywhere in the world. But like, we're gonna focus specifically on like, the one example that constantly came to mind was she is very eco-shamey, which we've mentioned many a times on this channel. I don't like that, because you don't know people's situations, and also if you don't give any kind of nuance to it, that's a problem, because like, there is so much that, again, privileged life, where it's like, how dare you have your single-use plastic and blah blah blah, and it's like, well, did you know, like, disabled people need to have like their fruit and vegetables in the little plastic containers because they physically can't deal with it. Like, if you're disabled for whatever reason, there's a variety of different diagnoses that can cause this problem, where you can't have the oomph, the dexterity, whatever, to like cut into like a watermelon, but you want the nutrition of a watermelon, you can get it pre-cut. And again, it might seem silly, but that little thing, and like people who deal with mental disorders as well, like if it stands between you and eating or having a clean house, to sometimes use like plastic cups and plates and cutlery, if that's gonna keep you from having your house literally like disgusting, that's okay. Like, you're really not gonna make that much of an impact. Like, that's the thing. We need to be going after corporations that are literally, like, if they didn't sell their clothing line, they throw it in a landfill instead of selling it, or, you know, giving it to people who need clothes, because profit. Those are the people we need to get mad at. Guilting the average person, and like, sure, try and cut back where you can, obviously, but it was so ironic for the amount of eco-shaming the author goes through to be like, try not to overuse, and then has so many random blank pages that are like, but why, dude? Like, if you're gonna be this way, so many of this, full pages of just like, sure, your art's pretty, it looks like an Instagram filter, like, good for you, that's great, but if you're gonna shame people, the pot calling the kettle black, like, like, sure, 1 copy isn't the end of the world, but this is through a publishing house, so it's not print on demand. They mass print and hope it's gonna sell. Like, I don't know exactly how many copies this author theoretically would have had pre-printed, but that's how publishing houses typically work. They're gonna print off like 10,000 copies, give her a check, so there's like 10,000 books with all these extra pages that are wasting resources for nothing. I'm just saying, if you're gonna be like really eco-shaming people, like, your book should have only been an ebook, because materials, and I just, it's stuff like that where I'm like, dude, like, if you're gonna, and it was a lot of shaming constantly, and it was like, if you're gonna play that game, you have to follow those rules too. Also, the verbiage in this book really got on my last nerves. So like, this was just one that I had picked out, but on page 65, when I birthed my soul tattoo practice, and I'm like, you didn't birth it, you created it, dude. Like, it's the flowery language got old really fast, because you didn't birth it, dude. It didn't come out of your body. You didn't grow it. You just did the work. It's okay. But like, and I know it's nitpicky, I know, but I can't do the flowery language like that. I'm very much more practical. I know, I live in the masculine, but like, it got old. So again, with the pseudoscience from page 86, we have forgotten that the remedy for any ailment can be found within the earth. My immediate sarcastic self was like, well, no, duh, we're not gonna go get our cures from Mars or Jupiter. Of course it's gonna come from the earth. The more serious version is that this is pseudoscience and it's dangerous to be promoting, because there are ailments that are not fixable. I have had several people die with uncurable things, and like, I live with an uncurable disease. It's never gonna have a cure, and it's super toxic for you to say that kind of stuff. Again, pseudoscience. And it also is just privileged that you've never had to experience or be around somebody who's experienced uncurable things. And also, she puts the ancestors on like a really high pedestal, but like, we live in the most like best time to be alive. Like, our medical advancements are a lot better than our ancestors. Like, sure, they lived off the planet, but like, also they thought that if you tied a worm around your throat, it would fix your sore throat. You know, the ancestors weren't that smart either. Like, we now know that certain medicines will actually fix it, and that tying a worm around your neck will in fact not. Same with leeches. Like, we could just not live in a world of thinking like that, you know, just pseudoscience. Again, also with the pseudoscience, page 105, our bodies don't get the vitamin D and sun kisses as much as we should. We are actually taught to fear the sun in our modern culture and lather our skin with chemicals to prevent our skin from absorbing the sun's naturally healing energy. My note is literally, babe, not everything in the universe was intended for humans. That healing energy with those chemicals to prevent it will cause cancer. Pseudoscience. You know, just, it was a lot. And like, also, you don't need any training in order to be your own healer. Please get real training, because if you mess up herbs and stuff, you could die and be severely injured. We should utilize all of those years, thousands and thousands of years of our ancestors going, oops, shouldn't eat that. You know, use science. It's a great thing. We shouldn't hate it as witches. We should be friends with it. So anyways, needless to say, I didn't like this. The rituals were really basic, and it was just your very generic, like, if you've ever gone to a counselor once in your life, you've heard the same stuff. So if you're new to that, maybe consider it, but otherwise, like, there's better books out there. This was just not great. And I know I'm being generous with a 2-star, because I really didn't like it, but also, when I so sparingly do 1-stars that I'm like, I'm really surprised I haven't done any this year. So anyways, thank you so much for watching. I would love to know your thoughts on this one in the comments down below, and your thoughts on pseudoscience, things like this, because like, cancer's a thing. Use sunblock. The gods in the universe do not care if you wear sunblock. I promise you, it's okay. It came from the earth, remember? It came from the earth. Anyways, if you want to support me on Patreon, patreon.com/NiagaraLoveCrafts. And until next time, thank you so much for following along for my chaos, and blessed be.